Daniel, today I wanted to talk to you about a movie that has been in theaters for a long time. In fact, so long that it's now available out on Blu-ray and DVD.
And iTunes.
And on iTunes and all the different places that you can go and watch it, which is Captain Phillips. Though it is important because it is Academy Award nominated.
Yep.
And a lot of great performances in it, and a lot of people have been talking about it, which is Captain Phillips.
And I'm kind of embarrassed to finally rent it on iTunes. I should have seen this one in theaters, but whatever, it's Christmas, and gluttony of great films out there.
So Captain Phillips, if you're unaware, stars Tom Hanks in the role of Captain Phillips, and this is the true story, or the retelling of the true story, of a Somali pirate ship capturing this ocean liner headed by this Captain Phillips gentleman, and then the takeover of that ship and the aftermath that comes from that takeover.
That's right. And you watched it in theaters.
I did.
What did you think of it very quickly?
This is a very tense film, and it's very interesting because I saw Captain Phillips in the same week that I saw Gravity, another film that's kind of really tense the entire time because you're not sure of exactly what's going to happen to your main character. Now, this one's slightly less so. It's still pretty tense watching it, but if you know what the true story is behind it, like I did, I kind of knew what was about to happen.
And that's one of, I guess, Paul Greengrass's strengths, is that he does stories that you know the ending to, Flight 93, or 93 United. He also did the Bourne films, the last two of them. But it still is so engaging.
Oh, it is so engaging. I think that the performances are really what helps this story. In particular, the two main people, which is Tom Hanks, and I can't even remember his name, but the head Somali pirate, who does such a phenomenal job in this movie, in such a
debut performance,
but just a natural acting performance. There was never one time I didn't feel like, yep, that's a Somali pirate. He just felt so real. I think that's part of the good thing about this film, is that it's really easy to go with these people are evil and they were doing a terrible thing and we're never going to learn anything about them or their backgrounds. And in this it says, no, these people who are taking over this ocean liner, they do have a legitimate reason for why they're doing this, even if it's wrong. It's wrong to be doing it at the same time.
And that's what makes this film so, I think, wide appeal. On the one hand, it's a thrilling movie. You can go in and just enjoy the action, enjoy the tense, the what's going on here. But on the other side, while you're really this thrilling scenes are going on, it's very interesting because it really engages the intellect and the acting at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the one big criticism I have really of the film is really somewhat of the set, the first 10 minutes of the movie, which is really weird because I'm going to contrast it here in a second with the last 10 minutes of the movie. So the first 10 minutes of the movie, you kind of get some backstory of the Captain Phillips character, which is his wife taking him to the shipyard so they can get on the ship and get over to where he's going to, the airport so he can get over to where he's going to get onto his ship. And really that relationship doesn't really matter. You find out all that information when he's on the ship anyways.
But don't you think they contrast that by showing the pirates a little bit of the backstory of how he gets onto the ship?
Yeah, I kind of understand where they're coming from in doing that. It just didn't do anything for me to have Catherine Keener in the movie for 3 minutes and then never see her ever again in the movie. So that's a little bit weird. But the end of the movie, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you ever want to see a true representation of a man going into shock, this is the performance you need to see by Tom Hanks. I mean, he's already one of the most celebrated actors of our time, but man, I was just blown away by that breakdown that he has at the end of the movie. I was bowled over.
It's incredible, and because you're kind of in shock too. You've been through this as well. I think that's one of the reasons it works so well on there. There were 3 things that really stood out to me as an interesting level on there. The first was you're watching not a military ship go out into Somalian waters, not even a ship that encounters a lot of dangerous situations, but a working ship. Yeah. This is a lot of people's work environment. You see them on their breaks, you see the leadership going on there. And I had to ask myself, as I was watching this movie, what would happen if my working environment were to go into this situation? Who would the leaders be? How would we respond as a group? What would that back and forth be like? So that was one thing that really interested me on that.
Obviously, you would be the leader.
Obviously, I would be the leader, I would, and no spoilers, but I would do the things that would get the pirate captured.
Yeah, obviously. That's what you do. So this is probably something that you'd recommend that people go and see?
It totally is. And the second reason, which is I think why I recommend it so much, is seeing 3 different examples of leadership. Right. The first, obviously, is Captain Phillips, and you see him manage his boat. And then you see the terrorists, the pirates, manage their boat, particularly the lifeboat. And then you see the military and the captain of the military, the naval ship, come in and manage his boat. And it's very subtle, but there's actually 3 different scenes where you see each of these captains either shirtless or washing themselves. Kind of this kind of relaxed mode where they're not even ready for work, as it were. And I think that kind of sets that contrast up. Cool. So yes, I recommend it. Great film on many levels. It's on iTunes. It's on DVD.
Yeah.
Rent it.
And I would definitely say rent it. Go and have it a watch. I think there's a floor hockey game going on behind us here right now.
On a staircase.
The one thing that I also wanted to point out, it kind of comes into the 12 Years a Slave conversation we had here a few months ago, which is, yes, this is based on a true story.
Yes.
And they're fictionalizing a true story. So I've read some articles later on about how the things that they decided to change, the things that they didn't put into the film, and the characterization of Captain Phillips himself. So I would definitely read those articles after you see the film and kind of form your own opinions on it.
It's interesting that was one of your main criticisms of 12 years, and yet we still loved Captain Phillips.
Well, I think that the difference between it, if I can be so bold, is that in 12 Years a Slave, to me at least, it felt false. It felt false, the changes that they made, whereas in Captain Phillips it always felt germane and real to the situation that he was in. So,
well, let us know what you think. Join in the discussion. Watch it. I recommend it.
As always, our social media links are up here on the screen right now.
And subtitles because of the floor hockey.
Exactly. We're going to go play right now.
I know. Talk to you later.